What's good, guys? It's Ilson 4K. And you know there was no way we were going to do a month-long celebration of horror movies that take place on or around Halloween and not cover at least one Halloween film from the series. Yes, last year I actually covered the first three films, Halloween 1, 2, and 3, Season of the Witch, and it was actually Season of the Witch's 40th anniversary, so we took a little bit of an in-depth look at that. Fittingly enough, this year, Halloween 4, the next film in the series that I did not review, turns 35. So we're going to take a look at this movie, as it was actually the return of Micheal Myers after 8 years to the Halloween series, and ironically enough, considered a bit of a downturn in the Halloween series in terms of its critical reception and the reviews, even though there are a lot of fans out there that say this is their favorite Halloween movie, including my friend who actually showed me this film way back when I was 9 years old, and it was actually the very first Halloween film I ever saw. I myself have mixed opinions on it, but we're also going to take an in-depth look and review at everything else in the Halloween series and why it was so ironic and but yet so important that Halloween 4 came out and Micheal Myers was brought back, not just for the Halloween series, but for horror movies in general. So make sure you check it out, like and subscribe to the channel, and remember it's Ill TV, where if it's pop culture, you know it pops up here.
Don't fuck with them hoes.
So the plot to this film is rather interesting. Laurie Strode has since passed on, unfortunately, and Micheal Myers has actually been in a coma since Halloween 2's explosion. Yes, Micheal Myers survives the Halloween 2 explosion and has just been in a coma the whole time. Micheal Myers is being transferred in present day, October 30th, 1988, from one mental facility to another, because nobody has learned anything about transferring this guy on Halloween night at all yet, because it's only the second time, I guess. Moving forward from there, Micheal Myers finds out that he has a niece and breaks out and wakes up from the coma in the middle of the ambulance ride and hijacks the ambulance and drives to Haddonfield to go find his niece, Jamie. We then cut to Jamie. Jamie is the daughter of Laurie Strode and the niece of Micheal Myers, and has no parents because unfortunately Laurie Strode has died, and that leaves her to be a foster child living with her foster family in where? You guessed it, Haddonfield. That's right, they'd let her stay in Haddonfield. Anyway, how it works is she has a foster sister as well, Rachel, who seems to take care of her as much as the parents do. What happens is that night, October 30th, they decide the parents want to go out to dinner and leave Rachel to cancel her plans with her boyfriend and go and take Jamie out trick-or-treating. While this is happening, of course, Micheal Myers is driving around looking for his niece and eventually finds the house and breaks into it. While this is happening now, also they're out trick-or-treating, so no one is home for Micheal Myers to kill. Eventually we see Micheal Myers kill people along the way as you expect, including electrocuting someone in one of the most overdramatic kills I think ever seen in the series, but we also get a surprise visit from who trying to stop everything? Dr. Loomis. Yes, that's right, Dr. Loomis is in the film and meets up with the sheriff just as he did in Halloween 2 to try and find Micheal Myers and kill him and eventually put him away forever. What happens is they find out that Micheal Myers is actually on the prowl. He's not at any house, and it starts showing Michael chasing Jamie in the middle of trick-or-treating. Eventually it gets to the point where Dr. Loomis finally catches Micheal Myers and kills him, as we all think he will. But, of course, as we know, there's a twist ending to this where it shows Jamie is now dressed as Micheal Myers and possessed by the same evil as him. Yeah, that's as exactly ridiculous as it sounds. I'm one of the many that feels this was like the first real miss in the Halloween series, and I gotta say, it's not the worst Halloween movie at all, especially when Halloween 5, 6, and H2O are out there, okay? Like, yeah, no, it's not the greatest Halloween movie at all, and it has its problems. And I gotta tell you, my problem with the film isn't even like the convoluted storyline of trying to explain the fact that they couldn't get Jamie Lee Curtis back, because the show must go on and people swap out of movies all the time for any reason. So that's not so bad. The story's a little weird, but they tried and made it interesting somewhat. The real thing that bothers me is how serious this film tries to take itself. And it really just comes across as them not knowing how to modernize Micheal Myers for what was popular then in 1988. Because the last time before this movie Micheal Myers was seen was 1980, and there was huge leaps and jumps in the slasher genre at that point. I mean, it wasn't even like he left at some random spot. He left when the genre was just on a serious upswing, and 2 years later, by 1982, the whole genre had grown and exploded. By the year of 1988, the decline had just kind of started in the slasher genre, and the tropes were expected, and it feels like they tried to do their best to really make it fit in with what was popular at the time, because the formula from the 1970s had just long since been gone. they just didn't know what to do. I feel like they really tried and they did everything they could. And one of the things that kills me about this film, and I mean it absolutely kills me the most, is Michael Myers' hair in this film. Like when you see him sometimes, it looks like he just left the barbershop. He's got like this slick back affair without any gel. I don't know, man. It kills me. But again, they really tried to do something different. You got to really applaud that, because not everybody is willing to take what's popular after not using something for so long and try and make it popular by combining it with what everybody's familiar with. There just isn't a whole lot of familiarity in the series either. It feels almost like it's like a made-for-TV Halloween movie at times, and that's not a bad thing, because you know the original It was made for TV, and that's something we all worshipped until the remakes came out and kind of did it right. But I don't know. I just can't really word it. It just didn't do it for me, and I can see why it didn't do it for a lot of people, but let's not ignore the fact that it does not make this a bad movie. In the end, Halloween 4 really, really was a much-needed affair in the Halloween series and in the horror movie series as well. Firstly, it turned a profit. Against a $5 million budget, it made $17 million, which means it did better than the $14 million that Halloween 3 made before it. And it also proved a point that while maybe it was harshly reviewed by a lot of critics and fans, and they didn't like how Michael Myers was brought back, fans and critics were still happy nonetheless to see Michael Myers brought back. Studios thought they knew what was best for the viewer, and the viewer told them otherwise, and the studio actually listened, and we've actually got to commend them on that, because that's really a noble affair. Again, the issue was so much time had passed from Michael Myers not being on screen that not only do I think studios didn't know what to expect from Michael Myers, but I think viewers didn't know what to expect from Michael Myers in a modern day era 8 years later. Like I said, the genre had come and gone so fast that by the time this return of Michael Myers happened, nobody really knew where to go, because the long storied success of Halloween being the movie that really kicked off the slasher genre into absolute orbit after the Texas Chainsaw heated it up was the fact that it worked for the time. And what was the time now? Different. So they had to adapt, and they tried, and they came up a little bit short. But again, by no means is this the most worst Halloween film ever. It is hands down one of the most okayest Halloween films ever. But its importance in the horror movie genre and for Halloween is undeniable in the fact that it showed that people wanted Michael Myers back, and he was long overdue, and the fact that he was actually delivering what audiences wanted somewhat was enough for them to further the series and genre after that. So again, guys, thanks for watching this video. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. Make sure you check me every night at 9 p.m. Sorry, every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Twitch.tv/ILLTV4K, streaming for the Total Terror-thon Thursdays this month, and every Thursday after that. But for now, we're playing horror games. Again, thanks for watching. And remember, it's ILLTV celebrating Horror-ween, a month-long celebration of horror movies that take place on or around Halloween, and we'll be doing this all month long. You're watching ILLTV, where if it's pop culture, you know it pops up here.